the Neon Confidential podcast.
Is this thing on? Paul Ryu is a founding partner of Jump Force, a contemporary creative agency specializing in social media and influencer marketing. Paul immigrated from the U.S. from Seoul, South Korea at the age of 13 with an insatiable drive to live the American dream. As an entrepreneur specializing in sales and digital marketing, Paul is making strong and lasting human connections in the food industry. And as one of Las Vegas's most connected foodies, Paul finds himself using his influence to authentically reach a diverse array of people, driving them towards great dining experience, whether on a budget or fine dining, both locally and nationally. Paul works as one of the most sought after Instagrams and TikTok creators in Las Vegas with a recent 128 million view Instagram reel. And he's been featured in many publications like Food Network, The Travel Channel, Fox News, Eater, Thrillist, Las Vegas Weekly, Vegas Magazine, and Food Beast. You're so accomplished. So
Thanks.
is that number still accurate? 128 million views?
No.
And
yes,
is that
probably.
the Onion?
Yes.
Real?
Yeah, that's the one that you remember?
Yeah, I do. I couldn't believe it when you showed me, like, we were eating at Carver Steak, and I was like, can I just see the analytics? Because I nerd out on that because we both own creative agencies. And I'm like, that's just unreal.
I think you're the only one that actually saw, like, I pulled it up. I will do it again. Let's just see it.
It's so fucking crazy. And then didn't you say that, like, the way that the algorithm works, you think that they, like, released it, like, one country at a time?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what the comment that I had was telling you that, yeah, as another 10 million views come in, you can see, like, the language change in the comments. So you'll get a bunch of one language, and then another day you'll get a bunch of another language comments.
So you can tell that it's releasing it to certain. It's like, oh, it's performing well in this country. Let's keep going.
It definitely seemed like it was getting released to another audience. And then whenever they did that, you would feel that.
So explain to people who can't. So first of all, let me just read some of these. Like,
I love how we're diving right into this.
We're diving right in
this
because
is great.
I can't, like, especially because there's no commas. I can't even understand what this number is. 128,214,234 plays.
Yeah. How many shares?
Shares, 870,000 people shared it.
Yeah.
That's insane. And then 129 million accounts reached. So explain for people that, like, can't see, because those numbers don't even make sense when you were saying, and then another 10 million, another 10 million, like, what the hell? Like, just think about the number that 10 million is. And so explain to people who can't see what that reel is.
So what this tells me is that whenever somebody tells you that, I've heard, I sat down with clients and they're like, I know a person from San Francisco, a company that has this app that tells you when the best time to post, or like, I hear a bunch of it.
Yeah.
And I go, do they calculate the fact that it takes months to crawl hundreds of millions of views? And like, there's no way, right? So yeah, it just kind of started going. It was one of those posts when I posted it, the first hour, you look at it and go, oh, that's going to tank.
Totally. And
I thought this was another regular, maybe didn't even pass, but it's 250 likes in the first hour.
It's a blooming onion.
Yeah, it's like a 9-second blooming onion post from Cali Bombs. Shout out to Cali Bombs.
A 9-second post.
Yeah, with that Dr. Dre beat on it. And then,
was the audio
it still has
trending?
The template on the Instagram because I edited it inside of Instagram.
You didn't even use, like, an external editing thing. And that's, like, so a lot of clients, like, there's, 8 social agencies, and we won't, like, name any names, but when people say, because, you probably know this, we take a lot of, like, people who have been burned by other creative agencies, right? And they said, well, my last company guaranteed that we were going to go viral. And I'm like, you literally can't guarantee that. Like, there's no telling what the algorithm is going to like on any sort of particular given day. So again, like, you posted this 9-second reel and you're like, it's probably going to tank. And then
it was not tank, but 250 the first hour is not the best. Yeah. So that day I went, and that didn't start really crawling like 7 days into it.
Really?
Yeah. So I went on a trip. It was over Christmas. So I was in Indiana with Mindy's parents. She's from Southern Indiana. We got married in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're just spending holidays and eating green beans and turkey, and then my
And the algorithm's like, Merry
just starts
Christmas.
going, and everybody's DMing me going, what is going on?
There's
And then-
another post that you just did. The beer that you fill up from the bottom of the cup, which, like, by the way, because it's like one of those things where I saw it at the stadium and you see like cups being filled like that and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. But you like had the foresight, or you thought it was interesting or whatever, to record someone filling up a beer.
Wait, I would like to like claim that I had the foresight, but I was,
Well, you recorded it.
let's be real.
Yeah.
Those are the posts where I just look at that and go, wow, I put so much time and so many plans, so much into a post. And this is literally like, I wasn't even there for that. I was there for the Taco Bell, the Truff collab with Tollywood, right? And she, the part of the beer thing wasn't even on. The reason that the beer is flat, and a lot of people, oh, flat beer, I think is because it was the first beer that they actually pulled out of that tap, because I told her, anyway, I can just shoot this, you doing this.
Yeah.
Was in my phone for months. And then there's that day, you know, on TikTok, I'm like, oh, I gotta post something. I just scroll. I'm like, oh.
You're like, this'll do. And then it's just like skyrocket
No
to the moon.
audio. Do you know that? There's zero audio on that. It's just ASMR. It's like Diggable Planets was playing in the background. I just left it. And then it went. Do you know that post, by the way, passed 30 million views in each platform? Like it passed 30 million in 37 million in TikTok, 30 something million in Instagram, and 30 something million in YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll post something like on Instagram and it'll perform better on TikTok. And you're saying that every
It's a
single
unicorn. I'll give it to you, and you can post it. You know what I mean? I'm
And see what
pretty sure that it'll go. People really like this content for some reason, and it's like, and you know, like most of them are saying, dude, people have had that technology for 10 years.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, what is this sorcery? And I think it's magnet. Is it magnet?
I have no.
Okay, so
'cause there's a hole in the bottom of the cup.
Right. And then there's a magnet top.
Right.
And then it pops up when you pierce it, right?
Right.
And then fills it, and then when you let it go, it attaches again.
Do you think we're doing a good job at explaining this to
Totally
people?
not. You should just go see my Instagram post
Just
or
go
whatever.
watch one of Paul's viral Instagram or TikToks about somebody it's at a stadium. They fill a beer up from the bottom of the cup rather than pouring it from a spout. So that was just.
And
that was
another
it.
thing is this isn't Taco Bell, which is not a usual place where you see beer, but Taco Bell cantinas have beer.
Vegas, baby.
Right. So there's that component. So a lot of people are like commenting on it about what it is. But yeah, again, it's one of those things where you post and you see these results and go, wow, I'm spending so much time and effort into like other things that don't even do well. And
Totally.
here's like this is, you know, so those agencies that promises the world and like, are you kidding me?
No,
You don't know.
You can't. There's no way you can
don't
guarantee
know.
that. And listen, at the end of the day, as long as you're producing quality content and like showcasing whatever the brand has to offer, you're doing a good thing. Like something going viral doesn't necessarily translate to like sales. Sometimes it does, because
You're
awareness, if you're in the same area, or we live in a tourist destination where people are constantly influxing to Las Vegas, that they'll probably stop by a place. But at the end of the day, it's like the views are nice, but it's still like a vanity metric, you know? Social media is a necessary evil. So it's like, as long as you've got quality content and you're showcasing what the brand has to offer, you're doing your job. But that brings me to, because you're one of the OG foodies in Vegas.
Yeah, I guess that, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
Sure.
5 of you.
Yeah, there's when there was a very few of us, I was involved in it.
Who would you
Just like
say
10 plus years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so that's how long you and I have been working together.
Correct.
Like this is like when nobody.
By the way, shout out to 10 years for Neon Confident.
Neon PR. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's weird to say that we've been around for that long, but you've been doing this for that long too. And this is kind of like at the beginning when people didn't know like PR, marketing, social media, like all of these things kind of started merging together, right? Like we're working with brands
Absolutely.
on a PR scale. A lot of them are restaurants. So I'm like, you know, we're inviting foodies in that are just exceptional at capturing the content. You guys had the lighting down, the angles, you know how to record.
And we were in this, by the way, and I always try to say this, like those guys in the beginning were doing that with zero money in the game.
Mm-hmm.
We were posting every day. I mean, I'm sure that there's one or two that was already in the game of making this a business. most of us weren't, and that's another thing that we really want to say to some of our clients, and that wins them over for us, is that, hey, we were in this for the food, not for the money.
Not for the money. I mean,
but it
same,
started
right.
with the invites. Do you know what I mean?
I know, exactly. I'm like, if they're our client, and normally we're working with journalists, so this is like a new medium, and we're finally working with foodies. But yeah, I remember, if I can think back, it was like you, Susie, Phil, Emily. Who else am I missing?
Drew. There's like people like Still Not a Foodie, Ed, Vegas Food Baron.
Oh my God,
Vegas stuff
Food
like that.
Baron.
Like Amy Linda, who used to do professional photos for a lot of like Eater and all that, like photos by Amy Linda. Okay, and then there was like 3 people, and I think they're really the OGs. There was an account that was called Best Food Las Vegas, and it was owned by MyFab5 guys, and they hired 3 people, micro foodies in Vegas, to run that account, and those 3 were Mimi, Hey02, like I forget her handle.
Yeah,
every
it's
time.
like Hayamachi
Mimi,
or something.
And then Fred Paloma, and then there's Tony Holagato, who works at our agency as an executive. Those guys were in it in the beginning, so they invited me to a couple places, and then it was all PR. The reason that I was able to get my name out there is Drew had a lot of good events that was going on, and that was taking momentum, but as well as all the PR people who had like insane clients, like, oh, would you like to come Gordon Ramsay's new restaurant? And I'm like, yes.
And that's really what like our clients didn't get it. It's like they want us to invite like journalists in, and so it was really us having to explain to them, like, no, you don't understand, this is like the new age of like journalism. You're literally reaching your target demographic through people who like have such a leg up on capturing food content. Like they're going to do this better. Like a journalist is going to say, this is what it tasted like, and like they're going to explain it. You guys are literally showcasing the food visually, which that's how people eat, right? Like you see the food and then you like eat with your eyes first. Right. And so how many followers do you have now?
305K on Instagram.
I wonder how many you'd had when we first started working together.
Like 3,000 or
totally.
5,000. I was the smallest follower count guy out of that group.
And now are you the number one?
No, I don't count. I don't know.
I think
probably up there.
I think you are.
And shout out to that big post. Probably got me like over 160,000 followers just on that one post. Maybe
the Onion post.
Yeah.
No way.
Like I went from 90 something to like I couldn't do 100K. I think for 100K or 200. It's just I blew right by those.
I mean, I guess that's kind of how that works. Like, and especially like, let's just say like a Joe Schmo posted like a Bloomin' Onion reel. If people went to this person's page and they didn't have the quality of content, you wouldn't follow along. But you already had all this amazing content.
So when they come to my feed, they also see other things that are
right. They're like, this guy's it. I'm going to follow him.
So that kind of. But you know what? You do go up. If you go up 180,000 followers, you're on like recovery mode of not losing those followers, because they go up and they come down a little bit, and when you do that, you have to post as much as possible to keep the new guys interested. So I was like, what was a good recommendation that Phil's like, you have all these new followers, they have never seen any of your content, rerun the good ones.
It's a good idea. And did you do that?
Yeah. And it was towards the end of the year. Remember, it was a Christmas break, so it was like a perfect time for them to go bam, 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 bam.
Do you have like the timer set where it's like, okay, it's time to close Instagram? Do you have that set?
No. What?
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah. But
that's
like,
a problem.
Do you look?
That seems like more of a personal thing.
That's really what I want to talk about. So like,
that's
you
great.
don't feel like you ever need like a break from your phone.
Oh,
what do you do to like disconnect? Because like can get addicted to those numbers, right? Like you just said, it's like you get all this influx of new followers, and you're like, I need to do whatever I can to keep them. So like it's not like an addiction mindset. It's like you're living, it's your career, and it is important. Like those metrics are important to you, but just in order to like shut off, because you got to have your phone attached to you at all times.
I'm pretty much at our agency though. I'm one of the guys that actually don't produce as at the highest level possible. So I'm actually not highly productive on social media as I should be, because I'm so busy with sales and client services.
I was going to say, but now you have a team of people.
But now, I'm kind of doubling down on it, but I don't really have a screening system like that. I don't. I should. especially having a 3-year-old and trying to manage all that. But I don't right now, but I am kind of, that's basically what I've been working on the 5th year into my agency, is like emotional intelligence and getting back into what matters more, how much time I'm going to put into this and that. But after 5 years into the agency, after 10 years of doing creation, you kind of get, and then there's like TikTok, YouTube, and there's other things, and you get to kind of get dulled from these engagement highs and stuff like that, and you finally get to that point where you can just shut it off if you want to. I just don't have that implemented into my schedule right now.
But it's just like, so you're just saying it's all about balance. You're kind of like policing yourself personally, which is like what people should do.
It was so bad when I first started. Who's getting invited to what, and like, do you remember? Like,
I bet
I can see that a lot of guys that has been in the business for maybe like 2-3 years right now still kind of struggles with that. Like who's going where and who's getting what deal and what, like a. This guy's Instagram is super hot, but what's happening to mine, and what's do I have to do this kind of content because everybody else is doing? Like, there's a lot of things that pulls you aside from what you want to be, and I think that hinders you and it affects a person a lot more. But as you get the years underneath, and as you go through all the clients' ups and downs, and and I think scalability is another thing. A lot of people that are experiencing that and having trouble with that right now still has not gotten to a point where they have too much business, where they have to figure that out and have to go across. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see all that. I feel like our agency has gone through a lot of those for us to be kind of like emotionally better.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why when you're like talking about that, I'm thinking like, oh my God, I remember when I used to care about not getting invited to things. And now that it's like, I'm like, all I want to do, have you heard of like JOMO instead of FOMO? It's like the joy of missing out. That's me. I'm like, I would rather just like sit, especially when like, this sounds really bad, but like if there's like a new restaurant opening, sometimes I just want to hang back and like not go and wait till they figure out the kinks. I'm like, y'all can go and get some of that, like the free little like hors d'oeuvres and like light bites to the grand opening, and I'll just go and have a full meal like in a month. That
gets, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm
talking about. It comes down to ego and I don't know. Like, I feel like if you have too much, if you really are killing it in the business, it's almost hard to manage that to even care
totally too
much.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If you care too much, you're not doing it.
I know. No, that's right. Like, that's exactly right. And then like you said, kind of policing yourself when you kind of just know when it's time to like chill out and not feeling like it's got to be some structure. Like, okay, today I'm only going to have my phone in my hand for 5 hours. It's like, no, you just go until the job's done and then you can relax afterward.
Well, that's, and that's, I think a lot of people have to go through. There's no wrong or good. It's great that they want to go to all the events and be in the scenes, and that I think everybody should do that. It's just when I see people literally emotionally get hurt by, and I'm like, that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, like not being invited.
It's just so much. I feel like the industry still, if I'm feeling it right, if I have the tempo, like my finger on the tempo correctly, there's so much out there that I can't even handle. I don't think anybody needs to worry about it if you're a good creator in the game right now.
And I think everyone kind of does that. Like, it's interesting because like now, we have social media accounts, and like you own a creative agency, and I don't know if people think that it's weird that we all get along and we're friends, but like there are so many restaurants in Vegas, like there's enough room for everybody to like go around, and like we can all share and support each other. Like, I don't really feel like it's some sort of
I bet you people think like we fight over leads or something.
No way.
You know what I mean?
We like help each other out. Yeah, we help each other out.
And you do other things, and I believe that there's like these huge, I work on accounts that are government accounts. There's just no way that account can be just handled by social media crew.
Totally. I remember we were brainstorming.
People go, I would rather just have creator agency just take over my account. Well, you haven't worked government clients then.
I know. Because the brainstorming for that's got to be
that needed for. It's crazy.
It's got to be mind numbing.
I can't do any of that, and I'm like every time I'm in a we do the clerk's office. We do the wedding marriage license bureau for Las Vegas. It's one of our best clients. It's so fun, and they're involved in a lot of city things. And we are honored enough to be in these like meetings with like 18 people in a Zoom, and this everybody in the town, like LBCVA is in it, MGM is in it, Caesar's in it, and you get to realize, oh gosh, our agency as a social media, we're good creators and we provide a lot of results, but I feel this small.
But that's an imposter syndrome. Like, you guys earned your seat at that table. And like, that's what people rely on you for, is to come up with those creative campaigns. Did you guys do it was like the 1 million weddings?
5 millionth.
5 million weddings. And that was cool. Like, we have a wedding chapel client, we participated. So like, that's just an example for like ways that,
it's cool. And we're thankful that food got us here, you know. But the fun thing is food, dude. It's the low hanging fruit. It's a conversion is crazy. I'm looking at like Keith Lee effect. It is insanity what's happening.
Explain to everybody what the Keith Lee effect, for people that don't know, because there's people that aren't from Vegas that listen.
So shout out to our podcast, Las Vegas Pill Fill podcast, that just had an episode on Keith Lee effect, and we invited the business owners of the Post.
Of the business?
Yeah. So we invited a guy from Aroma, the guy from 303 in the Cut, and
cool.
how, their experience of like what time the Post went and how fast it got to get the line out the door and how many weeks of, So here's
another thing that I want to talk about is like Keith went in there on his own, right? Like he was not invited.
That's his integrity of the feed, is that I don't.
And it's the same thing. Like sometimes like I feel like at the end of the day, you don't want to be following someone that has to post because that's a client account. Like, he went in there on his own, did a review. Was it chicken wings that he ate? And he was like, these are the best like chicken
wings.
Megan,
it's whatever now.
Yeah.
Every post. It is whatever he posts.
But he walked in, he ate the chicken wings, and he said, these are bomb, whatever. And the guy had no idea who he was, the owner of this restaurant. And then all of a sudden, when Keith posted that, right, his phone, the restaurant owner's phone, what is the name of the restaurant? Do you know?
Which one?
The one that
the Frankston's or whatever, the pizza place that just went for it. But what was that place called? I forget the name of it. But yeah,
so he posts about it, and then all of a sudden, this restaurant owner, his phone won't stop ringing, and he can't keep up.
And it was
with
a dying
orders.
restaurant. Nobody was coming.
It was a dying restaurant, and then so all of of course, this is like when foodies and the power of social media does good, and now this restaurant is like hot, and it's like every major news outlet picked it up.
By the way, like a lot of people discredit the first few million that he earned without doing that. He was consistently putting out content about food in Vegas and blah blah blah, and actually was pretty big before he started doing the format that he does now that just crushes every post. And it's great for us because our agency Jump Force was started with a phenomenon like that long time ago when Instagram first came out. We did the sushi burger, and we like it wasn't one of us, it was like 15 of us at the same time, and it was a dying all-you-can-eat sushi place that became the most popular all-you-can-eat sushi place overnight.
Damn.
And that would happen, what year was that? Like, that was like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Those kind of stories needs to come out and let people know, because right now, I don't know if that's it. I don't know about you, but it's been good. Like, incoming leads are
hot right now. No, for sure. That's we can't
like it's crazy. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Like, what?
And it's the same thing. Like, we can't really keep up with like how many people, because social media it's the new version of PR. Like, you're connecting directly to your demographic, like visually, and that's what people want to see. And people's, like you said, attention spans are super small. Like, the one you posted was 9 seconds. Meanwhile, we're like over here on CapCut, like splicing things up and putting all these different angles, and then there's like one shot with like one angle, and then that one goes viral. So you just never know. But so let's talk about Jump Force. So you're 5 years old or 6?
This is our 5th year.
5th year. And so it's a team, and they're mainly foodies, right? That are on
in the beginning, what we thrived on is, hey, everybody that wants to work in our agency has to have some type of local following for the industry that they want to work on. So if you're doing food, I just need to see that you're pretty heavy on Vegas local.
And what did that take that you knew that, like, I've got a business situation on my hands, like I can monetize this for clients and like bring their like social media dreams to life? Like, at what point where you were just like on your own and you're like, wait a second, you're like building a following, you have all this great content, you're like, I can do something with this. Is that how that went?
Yeah, well, I had the sushi burger. So the guy that he owns Janga, and shout out to LN&G who owns Janga and a bunch of other restaurants now. He was like, hey, sushi's not doing well. We're doing a lot of hibachi, not much sushi. What can we do? I want to do the social media thing. But his question was, how do I know it's coming from social media versus not? And in the beginning, we're like, well, let's make a secret dish. It's like a super high risk. But I'm like, okay, let's make a secret dish. Don't put it anywhere. And if somebody comes and orders it, it's coming from me.
Right, like don't put it on the menu, don't put it on
anywhere.
the website.
It's not even a secret menu. It just doesn't exist. And if somebody comes and orders it, it's measurable. So we did the sushi burger. Sushi, rice, fried, spicy tuna, seaweed, and looks like a burger.
Yum.
Me, Susie, Lindsay, Ninzer, Unlocked, and everybody posted at the same time, and it just started going. And it went to Thrillist, went to Food Network and all that. People driving in from San Diego just to get the sushi burger and leaving, line out the door. People with like luggages from the airports just waiting for sushi burgers.
They
and
come fresh off the plane to get the sushi burger.
So the monetizing came from that guy. I think I signed up. I don't even want to say the retainer number. He's still at that retainer number, by the way.
Well, you got to grandfather like the OGs in. It's the same thing. I haven't raised my rate for clients that like haven't missed a payment in 7 years. It's like, no, you like helped me build my business to be what it is right now. So
well, that person literally referred every Korean restaurant owner in town in the beginning. So that's when I knew that it was on. I had 10 to 12 Korean restaurant guys going, hey, he's like, here's the money. He's like, here's the money. I don't even know what you do. So I don't know if this is like radio or TV, but whatever you did to that guy,
do that for mine.
Do that for me. so that's when I don't know if it's JMP Force, Jump Force, JMP stands for Jeremy, Mindy, and Paul. Mindy and Paul were married. And then there's a Jeremy who's not a creator. He's an investment banker. I kind of came to him because I went to the scalable model. It's great when you have 10 clients by yourself.
Right.
But when you have 20 clients, and from 20 to 40 and 40 to 80, these are levels of entrepreneur skills that I did not have at the time.
Yeah.
And I knew that. I knew, like, how do I go from 10 clients? Because I can get 10 clients right now, and I don't even have time for that. But I can see, like, I'm making how much with 10 clients? Like, what if I want to make more? And that scalability is the bitch in our. So I went to Jeremy. He was very, very invested in these kinds of, and he's done many things before, like consulting firms that had the kind of same strategy, where he made everything productized so we can scale better. So we're able to use, when a deal comes in, we break it into little tasks, and every single task comes with a little number on it. And then we just hire that person for that one task only, and we create a team around that. And I think that made us, being from producing accounts to productizing the accounts, made our company be able to scale from 20 to 40 and on. So that was like an eye-opening. So right now, at the time when we first started the agency, people would doubt what Jeremy's doing in our agency. Like, oh, he's not a creator. What is this system? But now, 4 years into it, people now understand. That's like the cool thing about business, is that you do things and you get this look of doubt from everybody around you. You're like, I don't know if this is the right way to go about it. And then 3 years down the road, you go, I
kind of had an adverse experience because everybody was telling me that I should be scaling faster than what I wanted to. And that's just a personal preference. Like for me, when I came from Houston, I worked for a PR agency in Houston who, like, my boss became my mentor when I opened up my own company 10 years ago. But I went from working with 4 people in an office that was probably this big, as big as this podcast room. And we all knew everything about each other. We all helped out with our clients. And then when I moved out here, I worked for the largest PR firm in Nevada at the time. And there was 54 people and nobody knew what the hell was going on with anybody. So like when people were like, scale, I'm like, I'm going to do this at my own pace. And now it's been 10 years. I'm buying a building because we outgrew this office and it's going to be double this size. And now I'm ready. But when you do have, like you said, someone that you partner with who's like versed in that, and he knows exactly what he's doing and like knows the path to tell you to get there, then like that makes total business sense that you put your trust in this person.
He's the same person that when day 3 days before the pandemic hit, the shutdown hit, we hired, I think, 1 or 2 high salary position people. And because of all the, and there's a lot of things going on in Job Force that is above and beyond the influencer marketing and creator agency, because we have some investment in tech, because he's from tech, and that's under Jump Force. So there were some things that we did in the beginning, that some investments that made us go, okay, we made some money on that. And so Paul, I want you to go tell everybody that is on salary that they never have to worry about salary the entire time this pandemic blows over. So that was another cool thing that we did in the beginning. So
Why is that?
because we were invested. So we had some money in the beginning. That's another thing a lot of people don't know.
Like you had that cushion,
we
and that's
had
not.
the cushion.
I had to furlough people. Unfortunately,
we were very fortunate, and those are the strategies but those were Jump Force money. I didn't have to get money from it. It's just those prior investments that we did that made us that money. That
Smart.
For us to go, this agency thing. By the way, this agency thing is very low profit. Do you ever agree?
yeah, there's not a lot of overhead, but the overhead is your employees that you're paying, salaries to.
Taking another turn this year, and I think one of the things that we did a long time ago was the investment in kind of like this augmented reality company in Utah. It was a while ago.
Wow.
And
do you guys post about that kind of stuff?
No, because it's more Jeremy's ventures that we get to be involved in. So we do a lot of work for them, as far as doing a little bit of content, doing a little this, and doing a little bit of tech work. But at the end of the day, they actually blew up to a pretty good place where they're in the middle of some Web3 and AI projects right now for BYU and a couple other things. So those are the things that goes underneath Jump Force, where it makes me feel a little comfortable when there's a vulnerability like pandemic, or we're losing half of our clients. What was that? 60% attrition in our clients. So went over that, and this is why we're the company that we are now. But can we just stop talking about that kind of stuff?
I'm is anyone out there?
Neon
Is everyone
Confidential?
asleep?
Yeah, Neon Confidential.
No, but this is part of it. People are interested, and that's the other thing. If you spend the majority of your day to day just so entrenched in what you do, you'd think that no one else is interested, but I bet you there's people that are listening that are like, what the hell? How do you do this? And I want to know how to do it. So for that you're welcome. But now let's go.
Is this Neon Confidential because you talk about what do you talk about?
It's really whatever. It's whatever the if there's business people, for instance, we had Jonathan Jocelyn. I know you know him.
I love Jonathan.
Jonathan's the man.
Stud.
And it's just I want to talk about the history of the plaza. It was kind of the topic and where it led to. And
let's talk about relationship. Let's talk about buildings. All right. First of all,
which one?
Can we talk about how you made some moves recently? People know about this.
Made some moves. I announced it, but you were one of the first people that I told in person. And this is when the idea of the concept kind of changed, because I was under contract to buy a building that I was going to turn this second property into a bar. And then when I was under negotiations with them, accepted a cash offer. And so the deal fell through. I ended up finding a building that's 2 doors down from this one. It's a bigger space. It's in better shape. It's just a better deal, for me. And then lo and behold, the cash offer that from the other place fell through, which kind of made me laugh. So the girl lost, the lady who owns that building just totally lost the deal.
So no more building.
For her, so a woman owned this building. That was the one that had the bar connected to it that I was going to buy under contract. And she's like, oh, well, sorry, I just got a cash offer. Well, at the last minute, the cash offer was just kidding, I don't want this. And now she's just screwed. And I've got a better deal on a building. So
that's going through.
That's going through. It's approved. And that's one thing that people don't understand. And I didn't understand. And I'm probably just talking to myself here. The amount of paperwork that is involved to purchase a commercial property is fucking insane. And it was it's you're dealing with a financing company, a bank, the lender, the real estate brokers, the appraisers, it's everyone wants all these things. My CPAs are I had to do 2-year financial projections. Broken down into 30 categories month by month, and you have to be accurate. You can't just guess. You have to go back and look at all the different ways that
This is to buy that
to
building?
buy the building.
Wow.
Because the thing about it, like the bank doesn't want to
No, I got
just give you a bunch of money if they think that like your business is going to come crashing down. So it doesn't matter how long I've been in business. They want to see like hard numbers. And it was just the most excruciating process. Like I was up until like, for like,
I remember.
for like 4 to 5 months, and they like literally just approved the loan. And it's like, that's how long that it's taken to get this far. But again, I get it. They're not just going to hand over but it's just not like buying a house or something. Like buying a house took a few weeks. This is like 4 to 5 months of paperwork, and they would send like 10 forms over, and be like, you know, and then I would stay up like all night doing these forms because I just didn't want it to be my fault, because you got deadlines you've got to meet from like the seller. So I've had to push those dates back twice for closing, just because it's you're dealing with so many different like businesses and entities and people and numbers. And anyway, that shit's fucking approved.
I'm glad, but it's
you.
Megan bought a building.
I bought a damn building.
That's a statement. Now.
Totally. It's hard, like especially when you.
Are you kidding me?
Right?
So this is what people don't know. It's going really well. I love, you know what I love the most about all this is the relationship that I built from, like, I could, even if Jump Force goes to shit tomorrow, the one thing that I'm really happy about is how all of us, the connections,
Yeah,
and the relationships.
If Jump Force goes to shit, you just move into my new building. It's fine.
Yeah, great.
I got your back.
Are you still doing this bar thing too, or no bar?
No, because that was the other property.
That would have been cool too.
It would have been cool, but you know, speaking when you said let's talk about relationships, talk about the building. So I was gonna open the bar with my ex, and then so thank God that didn't work out.
Hold on,
because you remember that I told you.
Something came out. Hold on.
Skirt.
It's like how much have you talked about that on this podcast?
Not at all. Like
Okay,
there's a few.
can we kind of like, can we do this?
Yeah, let's
all right.
go.
I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Okay. Oh fuck.
When did this whole thing? Okay, how long was the last relationship for now? It was hot and down, right?
It was, well, I went to high school with him. Like he's met my family. Like we weren't strangers. Like we went to high school together. We'd like hooked up in high school, always kept in touch. And then we reconnected in Austin when I went back to get one of my clients on a podcast out there. Then we dated for 6 months long distance. And then he moved out here and we dated for 3 months, and that went straight
9 months
straight to hell
total.
in a handbasket.
The 3 months. By the way, one of the most shocking stories I've heard in a relationship was one of the ending stories of that.
Yeah.
But I don't even want to get into that. By the way,
you're one of the few, right? And
it could be, it could be as not as bad to some people. Like I think it's just crazy.
No, this relationship, like what I will say is that this one fucked me up the worst, because he was so promising, right? Like you met him, so many people met him and were like,
I believe my text over to you is like, I like this guy. This guy's great.
He was great. And I think that's the problem, is like he was great until he wasn't. And it was really, really hard on me. Like, and I think a lot of people could tell that based on like, I share my personal life on social media and even in the podcast. And there's a few details that I've shared out loud. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's my process of getting over something. And all that has to do with is just extreme hurt. Like, I mean, that I felt like I had the rug just ripped out from underneath me. So it's hard.
And my big thing is it's not about that person. I kind of want to get away from that as much as possible on this. But my was like, man, why can't I just get it right? Like you had it, you know what I mean? It's so
I know exactly what you mean. I'm like, I have the craziest thing. I have stability in every area of my life except for relationships. And that is not to say that like I am this perfect person and I don't do anything wrong. That's not true, but that's why I've had a therapist for 5 years. It's really important to me to show up as the best version of myself in relationships anywhere, my business relationships, so I do try really hard, but it's like I have so much stability. I've been a homeowner since I was 26. I've been a business owner since I was 23. Like, and it's like these solid investments in my life. And I just am looking for someone to like reciprocate and share those things with. I don't even care if they have the same things. Like, I don't need someone to give me what I already can provide. I just want a good man. And it's like,
this might become the best. We have to clip that. This might become the best dating pitch I've ever seen on a podcast for Megan Fazio.
Oh my God.
Phones are gonna ring off the hook after this
My
one.
therapist was like, you know what
Swear
I
to God.
think? She's like, I think you need to go on like a show.
No,
Megan. So then I was like, I said that. I was like, a dating show?
What?
Hell no.
No.
I know people from The
Are you
Bachelor and no.
kidding?
She's like, no. Like The Amazing Race. Like something like that.
like something
where
crazy.
you're just on this epic adventure and I can take
where
some
you can
time
actually
off
show
work.
your emotional intelligence
Right.
versus not.
Instead
because
yeah.
Well, here's I you know what's crazy is the signs that we knew were solid because we're investors. We know,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, there's all these red flags that was not there.
I fucking
Right?
know. And that is
Like, how
that.
can the perfect situation turn out so not perfect? Is my feedback to you, which is crazy that you run into these, right? But
Yeah.
overall, I meant to tell you on this podcast, you're a good catch. This is not like it's not really bringing you down as much as people think it is. I hope because.
No, it
Because you know what I
definitely
mean?
this one totally fucked me up. And I don't let a ton of people like in and know that, but like, dude, it was just I'm like I
feel that. I
really
feel this,
really thought this
which
one
is
was going to be
concerning.
it. And a lot of people say that. They're like it's like you know, I probably have like one relationship every like year and a half, which is really unfortunate. It's like not
That's another
it's
clip,
not-
TikTok clip, left and right. These clips are just coming out.
It's just not my preference, but it just is what it is. And some of it is that like when a guy fucks up, I'm like, you know, you can fuck up once, but you can't fuck up twice.
God.
So the second time I'm like, you're out and I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry for not settling. So like if those come in waves of a year and a half, it just kind of is what it is. And I refuse to be embarrassed about not settling. There's people who are in relationships that like whoever they dated messed up a lot and they stayed in the relationship because, well, I've already invested a year. No, ma'am. Like,
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Like, and I don't know. Everyone kind of has different things, but people will say when I get in a new relationship, oh, this is the one. I have a feeling, and I'm
know.
like,
It's like so- there's a lot of pressure on that, too.
This was the first one where I felt like he was the one, and so that is what fucked me up. But like again, you have to see the whole picture, right? Like you can't like there is such thing, and this goes for me too. Like you can still be a good person who behaves badly. You know, it doesn't make you a bad person because you behaved badly. That's been a huge thing for me. Like good people can behave badly. It doesn't make them a bad person. It just means that they have some more learning and growing to do. And so that's the whole picture. Like that's the
Are
clear
you
picture.
older than him, or is he older than you?
He's older than me. He was. We
not
went
that
to
it
the same
matters.
high school, so he was 2 years ahead of me. And my older brother's great.
The reason I even bring this up is because we're more than just see each other at events and say hi kind of friends,
Totally.
right? We're definitely more than that.
You know the whole story. There's probably
Right.
a handful of people that know, but you're one of them.
It's kind of like, it's weird. And I kind of want to bring that up because I bet you get a lot of these questions and you kind of want to put this in this podcast and just kind of like put it to the rest.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it, but here we are.
But I think they need to know. And I think that's, one only thing is like, I'm just concerned that it turned out like this, and it was so heavily vested. But I think you're doing good. I
We'll see.
you say that you're doing worse than what it was just concerning, but
Well, I mean, just from like a healing standpoint, because I didn't see this coming at all. But like, after knowing the details of like what transpired, that there's some things that you just can't walk back, and so it just is what it is. I think it's okay for me to feel this way. I do think that like I give my whole heart to stuff every single time. And I think that like working on going a little slower is also, and like there was a meme that was going around that was like, no one's going to know like who I marry until I'm like walking down the aisle because I'm not going to post anyone on social media. And I probably should take a few pages from that book. No more fucking photo shoots of these clowns.
Oh, come on, dude. You can't.
The pictures are great though.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you're gonna have to leave that up. Are you the I'm gonna delete all the photos of me and him kind of a person, or
No.
are you?
There's still
I'm gonna
pictures
keep
of.
all that.
Do you remember Joe? That's
Yep.
who I went to Kenya with. Joe's great. I still have those pictures up because those are solid, awesome memories. Like I was in a Giraffe Manor.
I dig that.
In Kenya.
I like that.
And honestly, he didn't do like now the guy that cheated on me with a porn star, his fucking pictures came right off my page. So it just depends on like how things ended, but also like the reason why I do these like, photo shoots with guys is because I'm friends with a ton of photographers. We're in the creative space. And so like that time there was a girl that I'd met like on a photo retreat in Joshua Tree, and she was like, hey, I'm in Vegas, and she's like, can I come shoot you? I'm like, yeah, my boyfriend's here from out of town. And she's like, will he be in the pictures? And so I keep those up because like it's it's her work and it's beautiful. Like that's
I believe that too.
So it just kind of depends.
You don't need to be that petty about it. You know what I mean?
I totally, and what's going to happen, like if I want to, first of all, and I think women and men handle breakups very differently, but I am not the kind of person that after a relationship, I do not want any guy talking to me. So like those pictures being up, I don't need to like front as being single and hurry up and take the pictures down. To me, it's almost like sets up a block where if a guy sees my Instagram page where he's like, is she in a relationship? I don't know, these pictures are still up. It's kind of like, yeah, because I need that space. Like I don't want any man coming anywhere near me. And
Wait, hold on. How many people are trying to set you up though in your around you? Everybody?
No, I'm pretty adamant
about
and I say I'm not ready. And I would be so terrified that if I did go on a date with somebody who could be the right person, I'd probably just break down and start crying in the middle of dinner. And who the fuck wants that?
Are you like that right now? Right now, you could be that. You're that guy.
No, I don't think so anymore. But like, there was a point when people were, if there's people in the DMs, I literally have a copy and paste statement in my notes where I'm just like, I'm really flattered, but this is really premature, and I just got out of a relationship, and
Must be nice. Must be nice.
It's kind of not.
No,
though.
I'm just kidding. But this is why I can't fathom dating.
Fucking
right now.
Sucks.
This is why me and Mindy.
I know, you're lucky.
Like,
you got a good one. Y'all made like the cutest baby in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean that's our life right now.
So
but
cute.
It was ups and downs for us, Dude, trust me. Like my whole life coming to America, like it's crazy.
I know. I want to get into your background because I mean I know this story, so I can't react and be like, oh, you did. But like your story is exceptional. And so can you let the listeners just know from like, I mean, to me, the craziest part was you coming over here by yourself.
Yeah, I was 13, fresh off the boat.
Yeah, let's walk us through.
I was born in Seoul, South Korea, 1975. So I'm 47 years old.
Annoying.
Asian, don't raisin. And I grew up there, and I think if you had some money, one of the things that some of these parents were doing is sending their kids to America to study. But there's mandatory military in Korea. So it was harder for 16, 17-year-olds to get out of the country. So my parents thought 13 years old would be a good age to go as an international student and study in America.
Otherwise, you would have wound up having to be in the Korean military.
Well, that's one part of the life, but also I was a terrible student. I was once I had two other siblings that were geniuses, and I was terrible. I was like a mediocre in the class, and she thought. By the way, when I actually came to America, I was like immediately the smartest person in my class. I was like the best in math. Anyway, so they lied to me saying that you're gonna go to Disneyland. So I was like super excited. Went to the embassy, went through the interview with like flying colors. And on the way back, I remember mom saying, yeah, this trip, you're going, but we're not going, and you're not coming back. I remember saying, like, she was driving, looking this way, just told me that on the passenger seat.
So you're on your way to the airport.
No. We're coming back from the embassy, and there she told me that the interview just passed. You're not coming back from this trip. So 13 years old, I was in a boarding school in Ojai, California, in Santa Barbara. It was like a super richy school. No English. I couldn't speak English at all. And I had to stay in the dorms there. And there's no Koreans in this. So fresh off the boat, I'm like praying that night, please don't let me speak to anybody tomorrow because I have no idea how to speak. I had like, hi, my name is Paul. How do you do? Like I'll planned out. If anybody said anything to me, I would just start there. It's like, hi, are you hungry? Hi, my name is Paul. How do you, I started that. And then many stories that. And then a few years out, like a year and a half after that, my parents bought a house in San Diego. And my sister in Korea turned 21. So she said she was going to become my legal guardian. So they were moving her there, and I moved down to the San Diego house. But her visa got delayed for another half a year. So I was in this house, 14 years old, by myself.
Oh, my God.
And my dad's kind of like this.
Whose house was it?
My dad bought the house. He ended up going to prison for life for money laundering for some of these guys in LA. So he was like going back into for LA. He wasn't really there, but listen to this. But the
This
coolest
is
thing about this
fucking
story
crazy.
is
I
that,
said I wasn't going to react, but I
and
forgot
I'm going
big
fast
parts
because
of it.
I know,
Oh,
you know
no,
what I mean? This is
whatever.
like crazy. So on this street that I was living in San Diego, there was about 14 kids that are in my school, my grade and a grade above. And they're the most popular kids in my school. So
And there's
I have
Paul
no
living by
parents,
himself.
By myself. I'm 14 years old, and I become this immediate party house. By the way, the same 14 guys were in my wedding.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
like, they're the guys of the guys in San Diego now. They're killing it. But yeah, I started. They taught me how to. I remember like we were playing strip poker in my closet, and they taught me how to speak like say booger, like like. You gotta buy Jordans. You have to listen to MWA, and you have like all these like how to be cool.
Did their parents think that there was parents at your house?
Yes, but they said, "Oh, I'm going to this international student, exchange student from Korea's house." They're like, "Okay." Little did they know what was going
So
on
like
in my
go
house.
work on math homework
Right,
probably.
Teach them English, being a nice guy. Little did they know.
Meanwhile, they're
I
like
grew up
corrupting
that.
you.
And then I went to eventually going to UC Santa Barbara. Partied a lot more, and then I was just like this party guy. I could get alcohol because I speak Korean, and the guys at the alcohol place for like liquor stores were Korean, and I was able to get alcohol. And I don't even drink. I don't drink.
Damn.
So I was just like this party guy, like source. I can get stuff, always. I never had a parents, and I just grew up like that. And I went to UC Santa Barbara. I started partying even more, and I
What
just
a
became a
crazy way to
degenerate
grow
partier.
up.
And then I
Wow.
moved out to Vegas to come join my sister, and then Vegas literally chewed me up and spit me out as soon as I got there.
How long
So I
did
was
it
like,
take for this city to chew you up and spit you out?
Well, I
Like 6 months?
arrived and I was ready to party. I was like in college still. I was gonna go to UNLV for hotel management, and then I realized that every Asian person is there and every Korean person is there, and I started kind of like flunking out. But I started working at first job I ever got was BCBG Max Azria, and I was the first straight person that I've ever hired. As like I was wearing these platforms because I was going out a lot. I was wearing these platforms and like these suits and a man bag back then, and I kind of looked like a metro guy, and so I did really well there. And then the BB girls, remember BB in
Of course.
early 2000s
Yeah, I
was
rocked BB.
crushing
Remember
it.
like the rhinestones that
I
said
was-
BB
I
on
was
them?
BB Sports. They came and secret shopped on me saying you would be great, and I was the first straight. I think I was one of the first straight salesperson on the floor for BB Forum Shops.
Oh my
And I
God.
opened up BB Venetian.
Damn. So you were
and then
into
I got
fashion
into-
first.
And then I had a lot of dude, I played dress up with naked girls all day. That was amazing. And then I got into nightlife because all those guys came to me and said, hey, you have a lot of clients, send them all to these nightclubs. Back then it was like Raw, Utopia, like all those little drinks.
So the hosts were coming to you to try to get girls to go into their nightclub?
Yeah, because I get all the girls at BB that day at Forum Shops. All I have to do is go to this place. And I'll show up and everybody's, BB guy.
Oh my God.
So that was every day. I went out every day, and that became a nightmare. And
Quickly.
then I was just doing like recreational drugs, like I'll do MDMA and all this kind of stuff. And then I was just partying, and I thought it was cool. And then I started doing sales.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was really good at sales, and somebody came. I think it was like one of my friends, like, hey, I do this phone thing, and he was making crazy money. There's this place
Phone
called.
sales.
Yeah, if I say it's like the most gangster place that ever existed, is NOS. If I say NOS to some people right now, it's like, oh my God. It's like this long distance phone thing that was just crazy in Vegas. It was like they eventually moved to Egypt because
my
of
God.
FCC. Like it was crazy. But I was crushing it
What
there.
were you selling though?
Dude, it was like they emptied out a Kmart and it was 2,000 desks with phones. Like there was a DJ, it was like 6 a.m. hoorahs. There's a DJ when there's a big deal. It's like, where are you with the big deals? And everybody's like, and you'll have to like
This
go
sounds like
underneath
Wolf of Wall Street.
I would go underneath my desk and tell them that I'm stepping in my office, and I'll go underneath my desk and I would talk like this and like, yes sir, like
What?
I did that. And then that's when I started doing hard drugs.
Like
And-
while you were at work?
Yeah. And then that's when I realized that when you start doing drugs for performance, it's just bad from there. The fact that I'm a better salesman if I did this substance is when started going really south for me. Not for fun anymore. I'm doing this I have to do this for tomorrow's work. thing. That's when.
And then you become addicted to it. Is
yeah,
that
like
what
we're
it-
in cubicles. People are just throwing, just a little
Back and
bump here, a
forth.
little bump here, and then that turned into like doing a little bit of glass. We used to call it glass. You can like see through it. It's like probably methamphetamine, but we chop it and do it like a little bump on the, and get you up.
Damn.
That turned into a big spiral.
And then did that that was increasing your sales though? Like it's like you felt like
In
you
my
could
mind,
get, but,
it did.
Uh-huh.
I thought I could do better, but yeah, I mean, I was killing it, but I don't know if that was because of drugs or not.
It's hard because when you're like the city chews you up and spits you out. For a lot of people who move here, that has everything to do with like the nightlife industry. But it's crazy that like that was brought into a daytime career.
Thing.
And
I was
job.
actually okay hanging out at nightclubs until I needed substance to do my work, and then that turned into smoking meth, and that. Dude, you know what? I told this and there's two stories. You know what a hot rail is?
No.
So like, I don't even know if I should say this.
Why not?
So like I used to like doing, okay, if you chop up a line of let's just say methamphetamine, we used to smoke it. But a cool way to do it is if you chop it into a line and you get a tuber that's glass and you heat the very front of it to a point where it's going to get red, and you can snort it and blow out a smoke.
Oh my God.
So it's like snorting it and then it's hot rails. I used to do a lot of that.
You're like science.
That's the stuff that I remember doing that was like cool at the time, but it's so terribly damaging. Anyway, so that turned into me just becoming a drug addict.
Right.
And that turned me into just a
And you didn't
crazy
have any
person.
like family here to stop you or like
Arrests after arrests. I would like stay up 5-6 days at a time and rear-end somebody, get a ticket that would turn into a warrant, and I would go into jail in and out. 7 at-fault accidents within 50 days.
Jesus.
I got so many amounts of arrests, and during this time, I'm an immigrant. I'm a green card holder, but little do I know that I wasn't able to do. So you're not even supposed to get any trouble when you're a green card holder. I had like felonies. But at the time, because I spoke like this, none of my judges or anybody asked me if I was like a citizen. Nothing was
Wow.
connected.
Wow.
So, dude, I go through this, and eventually I become clean. I'll tell you all that story, but it doesn't matter. Come clean. 15 years later, like I haven't even gotten a ticket in 15 years now because I became clean. I became this guy, and I started dating Mindy. Got out of it.
Got your life together. You've got a
Got out of
career
papers.
path.
Probation for 3 years that I had to do. Community
Sober.
service for 3 years, 16 hours a month that I had to do, and got out of it.
And because like when people like me meet you for the first time, this story is so much more shocking because like we know you as sober. Like we invite you to restaurants and like you don't drink. And so like that's why this is so shocking. But okay, go back. So 15 years you said goes by.
No tickets, no nothing. I'm a good student for 15 years, and I get a knock on my door. And by now I'm dating Mindy. I'm a partner at a travel company now. Right before I started doing Jump Force, and they say we're ICE. I'm like, what's ICE?
What is ICE? I don't know.
Immigration.
Oh shit.
And they're like, you committed a felony 15 years ago. Now you're being deported right now.
What?
So I got arrested 15 years after. So I have this story. The reason I'm telling you this is the triumph story of how Mindy and everybody that I knew, because here's the thing, when I was a drug addict, I lost every single one of my relationship because I was such a,
Just
I was 117 pounds. I kept making I had like a Gucci belt that I still keep. I kept making holes because I was getting skinnier.
Oh my
if
God.
I put on that belt right now, the last hole I made is like here.
Oh my God.
And then I remember like literally looking in a mirror one night going, I think I'm going to die from this.
Damn.
I think I'm gonna die from that. And I remember like that being all right. You know what I mean?
That's like
I
your
remember
rock
doing
bottom.
that. I don't know if
think?
the rock bottom was I got arrested finally, and there's this person that saved my life, Officer Haggerty. I got arrested when I was in probation. I was on the other side of the road with like foot on the brake, car in gear, passed out with the cop just banging on my window.
Fuck.
So the last time I got arrested, last time I was high was that. But this guy put me in this halfway house program that saved my life. But
Wow.
yeah, so I was that bad. That was the bottom,
Jesus.
you know. But,
So then
but the whole story is I lost, dude, I was going to my friend's house. I would come back when I'm sober to my best friends. Like, oh, I'm sober. And they would say like, do you remember the last time we met? Stuff like that. Cause I was such an idiot. I would like go to my friend's house at 4 a.m., do this crazy thing there, never even remember. And they would like, so I lost all my relationships, but between those 15 years, I had regained all my relationships. So this whole story is a triumph of how many of those people had to come together to save my life when I was being deported, because I had to get letters from everybody.
Where were you being held before they deported you?
Henderson Detention Center. So I was in there for 4 months. I was arrested the entire time. Yeah, so
and I remember seeing this like on social media, and I started following along because Mindy, was she posting things?
Yes.
Like, right.
She was like, yeah, she was posting everything. She had a GoFundMe that went crazy. Dude, I had people with free
The
Right
t-shirts,
shirts
I remember.
outside, like chanting.
Yeah.
And this is why I do the things that I do now, is because I don't think people know the relationship, how important, that's why
The community.
It's just, it was crazy how many people stepped up for me to actually stay in America. And that's the only reason I'm in this country right now. And I just got my citizenship.
Yes.
You know
I know. I remember when you
like
announced
people have
that.
to write letters, come and like, okay. And none of that was my family either. My family couldn't help. It had to be you are my friend and you're an American citizen. I need your help. And they all came together and voted for me to stay.
And so 4 months, and then they like released you based on all these letters and like what? Like
Yeah, I was a gunshot, like 2 felonies and a green card. You're gone. But there's like a loophole called cancellation removal. Is like proving this many time of nothing, but 2 years of trouble, but also another 10 years of nothing, gave me a shot. But even if you had a shot, you don't win because you need letters and you need asset, you need family, you need community, but I had a lot of that.
Wow. That's crazy.
Also, I had to fight from inside. So I have to have Mindy, who loves me enough to fight this from outside, because I'm in jail the whole time.
Unreal. And y'all weren't married yet.
No, and that's another
She
thing. So
was
when I
just
came out,
dating you.
everybody's like, you better marry it. Like,
Did she have any idea about your past?
no. So she, as soon as one thing that she told her parents was like the coolest thing. I thought I was going to lose her for sure.
Yeah.
She's like, if this guy goes to Korea, I'm going with him. And she told her parents that.
God, she's so
So
down.
ever since then, she started finding out all my past. And she's like, oh shit.
She's like, who am I
who the
dating?
fuck is this?
Damn,
So-
but that, I mean,
Like she had to call all my high school friends that are like, San Diego friends that are super protective of me. And they're like, who are you? And they were like questioning her, and have to get all those people together. And get
I
the
mean,
letters.
you're a success story, and then also a testament to like what community can do. And some of this community is totally cultivated through like online relationships,
Dude,
right?
Vegas is very special in that sense. It's a small enough town where you can see a huge effect on when people get together and rally for you, or it's crazy amounts of energy.
And it's a lot of that is because when people move here, they move here without any family. So we all kind of become each other's family. Like for holidays, like I remember when, this whole breakup thing went down and you were like, if you don't have plans, you're coming over to my house.
I have those no family Thanksgiving dinners because
Totally.
there's so many of us that doesn't have.
Yeah, and I ended up doing that. I just spent the holidays with friends because I can't fucking go anywhere because this damn building is costing so much fucking money. Everyone's like, what's your birthday plan? Where are you going for Thanksgiving this year? I'm like, I'm sitting my ass in this building that I bought. I'm just going to eat dinner on the floor. I don't
It
know.
kind of hurt me though, because I think you do like a special thing with a friend or Thanksgiving. Like
Yeah.
there's like a thing that you traditionally do
That
that you
was
weren't able
why-
to do this year, but that really hurts you because I think that also had to do some of this relationship.
Yeah,
thing.
it was because it was
I felt
the
so bad
breakup
for you.
happened the day before Thanksgiving, and this was the first Thanksgiving in 7 years that I've been here. Like I stayed in Vegas because normally, my best friend and my best friend passed away 7 years ago, and he and I made a promise to each other that we were gonna travel to a country because we just both think that Thanksgiving is silly. Like we both were like, this is like, what you're going to see your like uncle and he's going to get into a fight talking about politics at the table and you're eating like turkey and celebrating how like we took land away from indigenous people. Like this is just such a stupid
So
fucking
good.
holiday. No shade. I'm sure people love Thanksgiving, but whatever. I just would rather spend my time like, so the rule was that we have to travel somewhere that doesn't serve turkey traditionally. It was just
cool.
the excuse
I like
to do
that.
it right. So we did that, and we only got to do one trip because he passed away 3 months after our trip to Guatemala. And so This is the first year that I stayed because I'm, purchasing a $1 million building.
Yeah.
Like, so I just needed to stay. And then this, we broke up the day before Thanksgiving, but my best friend, his name was Francis. His family came to me. So I was hosting them, which was also really bad because we all went to the same high school together and they like knew my ex and were just really disappointed to like hear what went down. He like just totally made like what was already a trying time for me just like way worse. I mean, just there's no good timing for a breakup. There's no good timing for a car accident. Like, but these things kind of just happen and you've got to just fucking deal with it. I mean, to me, and that was probably the other reason, is there's like a trifecta of holidays, right? It's like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. So like Thanksgiving, you're supposed to be with your family. I don't have any family here. Normally I travel. Christmas, I like had to return all of his presents and then went and bought myself something great. And then New Year's, like you get a New Year's kiss, right? So it's like the trifecta of holidays that like that were affected. It just sucked.
I mean,
breakups during the holidays.
So,
like I've never
that dinner was still in Vegas, though, right? Those people,
they came to my house.
Vegas.
Mm-hmm. But it was like he was supposed to move because he lived with me, and a lot of his stuff was in the guest room, and they couldn't stay at my house because all of his stuff was still in my guest room. I don't even know if I want to
I love this. I love this.
Just a fucking disaster. And
I know.
The one thing that I will say is like I've been really hesitant to share, and I don't have to share the details of what happened, right? Because that could be private. But what I do want to share, what people have encouraged me to share, like saying this on Instagram, is like I present as if I have everything, all my shit together. So by talking about this, my hope is that...
a lot of people assume
that.
I mean,
and honestly, for the most part that I do, but I think the point is that like sharing with people that like even people who have all their shit together can still fucking fall apart, and you still have bad days and bad times that you can share, and just to like give people that I don't know.
I feel like people who look like they put it good together actually have bigger shit that they're able to kind of handle. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I kind of like you sharing this though. I'm glad that I'm the one that I kind of
it's easy
kind of brought this out
because we know each other.
You kind of told me about this, and I want to be in the most mutual sense possible. I'm not here to talk I don't know, but I just want you to say it because that's what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
More than anything, I'm meant to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
It's good. You're doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Everything. It's like, listen, shit happens and, people move through things. I think at the end of the day, like really focusing on yourself and using situations that you have to go through, like even what you went through, and just like, you have to know that you can take negative experiences and turn them into something positive for yourself, right? Like, would you be
100%.
where you were or where you are right now if you hadn't been a drug addict and hadn't been able to pull yourself out of that? Like, would I be where I am right now if I hadn't gone through this heartbreak? It makes you appreciate like the things that the universe bestows upon you whenever it fucking wants to, apparently. My time hasn't come yet in a relationship standpoint.
I think the world gets a little easier after you go through some shit like this,
right.
and maneuvering through life and seeing what's important and what's not important. I feel like a lot of people focus too much energy on what's not important. I always say this, I'm like, let's not waste 80% of our energy focusing on 2% of our problems. Let's just... Totally. I want to kind of like love the people that love me rather than not think about the people that don't love me. I just want to go the other way. There's a lot of people who kind of put too much energy in that. But bringing this up to life, I think is good. Because you're right. People see you, dude. You're a little too perfect.
Yeah.
And you need to show this. I think this is a good thing for you to show on your podcast even more.
Yeah.
And go deep into that. I've seen like psychologists on the show. Dude, what am I doing in this show? It's like you've had some really cool people on here.
Well, you are a really cool person. What are you talking about?
But I like talking about this. I usually podcasts we talk about how to be a foodie and what do you like, what?
There wasn't any like clear direction, and it's like I think just I know a lot of very cool people, or at least I think that I know a lot of really cool people, and I get in these conversations where I'm like, I think other people could benefit from what we're talking about. And so that was really the premise. Like people were like, the person who helped me set up this studio was like, how are you going to monetize? I'm like, it's not, I have a job that makes me money. Like this is just something that I think if I can give back through important conversations. So yeah, it's got to veer away from career, right? Like I think there's several people that I have on. I had like a model, author, a foodie, you know, it's like, it's the CEO of the Plaza. It's kind of just really cool people that I think have done some cool shit and have like really good stories to share.
I think it's cool because it's not about their profession. You know, it's more about their person, and I like that. And I think that's what I want to bring to the table. It's not really that. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you read on social media. If you know what I want to do, what I'm doing, you just go to my social media and see that. Mm-hmm. But you don't really get to know the person, you know, unless you get to know the person. And I think that's what really comes valuable on these podcasts. And it's kind of funny. Like everybody asks me about like monetizing podcasts too. You know, podcast is a straight up passion projects.
100%.
You know, in the beginning. This is why it's important you get to bring on the people that you really want to and just kind of grow that out, because I don't know.
Has anybody ever asked you, like on you and Phil's like podcast, have people like volunteered themselves to go on before?
Of course.
It's so awkward. Like, I feel like this is a PSA to everyone. Like, don't offer to be on someone's podcast unless you're asked.
Well, what if it's like the Gary Vee? I mean, yes, but you know, there's a lot of people that want to get on the podcast because they see other people getting on the podcast, and I think we have a strategy behind it that people don't understand.
Exactly.
So
I'm like, if I've never had a conversation with you,
why can we? Yeah,
exactly. Like, I don't really know exactly, like, unless you want to just go on to promote your business, but that's why you hire a publicist or a digital creator. Like, you know, that's not what this.
Yes,
that's not.
I didn't know this was turning into a commercial, but yes, that's it. Yeah,
Neon PR Studios and Jump Force.
It's brought to you by.
This is all actually a big ploy to get more business.
Yeah, please, if you guys are needing any social media services, then you know, let us know. But yeah, I mean, this is why I love this, and I feel like I don't even feel like I'm on the podcast right now. This is why I love it.
And that's what I want it to feel like. It's actually, when I was interviewing Jonathan Jossel, I said interview, and he's like, conversations. Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's a fucking interview. Cause like, you really do have to go back and listen to yourself and say, how could I have led this a different way? But no, at the end of the day, it feels more conversational, and I want it to feel like people are like dropping in on a phone call that we're having or something.
Well, do you see this? How do you see same format? You see a co-host in the future at all? You see where do you? Okay, I meant to ask you this. Mm-hmm. Where do you want them to go first? Do you want them to go to Apple Podcast first and download that, or do you want them to go to YouTube first and watch this?
But that goes right back to like, if I'm trying to monetize it, I think go to wherever you're comfortable with. Like, that's great. We post it on all the platforms just in case there's people that say post it on YouTube because I like to look. I like to view.
That.
I don't.
How do you like it?
In the mornings when I'm getting ready, I put on Spotify.
Okay.
And that's how I listen. But I think 2 or 3 girls in the office listen on Apple. So like, it's totally personal preference. I don't push one or the other. It's all in our link tree. So it's just, if you get value from these conversations, listen. And I get that great feedback. It's like random, you know, at random points, people are like, girl, I just binged your podcast and I like love it. I'm like, good. Like, as long as there's like 1 or 2 or 3 people that like listen and they're into it, then
makes it all good.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. And if not, then I have a really cool archive of conversations that I have with my friends.
And as creators, and you've been in this long enough to not have too much of high expectations and just have fun with it. Exactly. I think that's what we're trying to do. You know? But when it comes down to production, you know, this is a lot of work.
Totally.
Like,
wow. You can look right at Kimberly's eyeballs when you say that. There's Kimberly
shout out to the production crew. You know what I mean? She just became
the production person behind the podcast, but like
people have no idea.
No idea. Like, there's just ebbs and flows, and there's highs and lows, and we've had to like A/B test equipment and like just the connector cables to make sure it feeds into the camera, and like,
and this is 1 week due date. Like, every week you have to pump out.
And I've stopped being so like adamant about that, just because of we're doing so much other stuff, and like you said, it takes a long time. So people are like, "What's the schedule?" And I'm like, "The schedule is whenever I have the conversation."
Oh, I like that.
Clipped,
I like that.
They're up.
See, that actually gives you extra stress if you have that.
It's too much to stick to a schedule like that. I mean, it's,
good. I like that.
You know, especially like, I'm getting people that have valuable, like, not that everyone's time is not valuable, but like people that are very busy, and getting them to come in here, like, this is already the win for me. Like,
I know.
Once we get to it and we cut it. I mean, you are though. Don't act like you're fucking not. You are busy.
I'm so busy.
Okay. Tell everyone where they can find you.
I don't care. Just, I just like having this
If you already
conversation.
don't know about
at
Paul-
Ryu Sauce is
Thank
where I'm
you.
at. RYU Sauce, like the Street Fighter guy and Sauce.
I've
is
never asked
basically-
you that. Is that
Yo, people are more and more not knowing what Street Fighter is.
I mean, I
is
know
that
what
me
Street Fighter
showing my
is.
age now? Like, it's crazy. I used to go to Valet and say, oh, what's your last name? Like, Ryu, like the Street Fighter. And they're like, oh, cool. Now they're like, what's that?
because they're like 21 years old? Did you hear that
Terrible.
instead of people that are like asking for IDs, they ask them what their favorite Backstreet Boys song is? Because if you're under 21, you don't even know.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Don't make me feel old. I'm 47.
Clever.
I'm telling you, dude, this is not good.
I just can't believe you're 47.
But
Literally.
yo, skincare companies, holler at me.
For real.
Skincare companies. I'm looking for
telling
one
you,
right now.
and I'm gonna go holler at my injector after this, just because I feel like I need Botox after looking at your perfectly not wrinkled face.
But thanks for this time.
Yeah.
I love you, and this is
I love
really
you
great.
too.
I've had a lot of fun. We rambled on for a lot longer than what you told
We
me. This
did.
would be like a lot longer than an hour, I think.
How long have we been going?
We're at 120.
Woo!
That's not bad. That's not bad. As bad as
Sheesh.
I thought.
You're actually the longest interview that we've had, but well worth it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.